So I thought I'd do a video, just a generalised one really. Uh, First of all, apologies for some of the videos being slow being put up, the ground up in, and I know I haven't done any other generalised videos for quite a while, uh, so I'll start doing them now. I'm up to date with everything else. So obviously there was a period of time where I didn't do a video because there wasn't really much to talk about with the lockdown and stuff. And before um, before the second lockdown, I was doing a couple of games, and I was mostly sort of staying at home and sort of trying to save money for still potential Euros trip and stuff like that, and not going to games when there was a game on the TV or stuff that I would prefer to I'd prefer to watch rather than go to a game, or do that as substitute to go in a game and save money, really, not prefer. Um, so I did that for a few months leading up between the August and you could go to games between August and December there, and obviously as restrictions got smaller and smaller, less games are going to anyway. Until we basically had to pack up and that was that. And then the second lockdown, I think I felt even more sort of distant from clubs I'd watched. Um, I am frustrated with um, the way football's gone and the way clubs have just taken the money um, and played on without fans. Um, Thoroughly expected it at the top level, but it to go all the way down to the conference is surprising. I've no sympathy with those clubs in the conference north and south that took the money and then decided they couldn't play on after the goalposts were changed. You can moan as much as you like, but you'd have played on if you'd have had the money. You didn't care whether the fans were there or not. Um, so it just shows that even down to that level, um, clubs just don't care about the fans. I think it would have been much better at all levels if clubs had just not played, refused to play without fans, furloughed their staff, and just waited until fans were allowed. I know that there might have been problems coming now where the furlough systems are ended, but there would be always a way around it. I mean, the way that the MLS came back, I think was the best way it could have been done. Really, whereas they just played a totally different, made-up trophy behind closed doors at training grounds. Um, I think you know that was a good way of coming back. Um, there might have been a point where clubs couldn't furlough staff anymore, or they were still finding it difficult to meet certain bills, where it would have been acceptable for them to play games to enhance their revenue by streaming and stuff like that. But there should have been either friendlies or just a made up cup competition at training grounds. Um, just a nothing trophy basically. Just for fun trophy really. So it wouldn't have been so bad missing those games, as long as the money from those particular things went to help staff on low wages, or um, went to just keeping the club afloat, paying those the larger the larger bills that you're not going to stop. Water, gas, rent, whatever that they needed that for. The essentials that they're gonna have to pay. Um, it shouldn't be there for what they have used it for. They've come back into, and they've used government money and grants to get themselves back up and running, and then are profiteering off all the other streaming and stuff, which they try and tell you is because they care that you're missing the games. They don't care. They wouldn't have played if they cared. So I think it makes me feel distant from all the clubs. I totally expected the Man United and the Liverpools and the Arsenals and the Tottenhams and whatever in the Premier League to do it, and Champions League and all the big clubs over there. I thoroughly expected them to restart again. They don't give a shit, and we knew they didn't give a shit years ago, so that makes no difference. It's still disappointing, but um, you're more used to getting fobbed off by those people, and that's that's fine for me, really. I don't see any issue with that at all, really. Just you just have to just take it, really. That's where we are with the top clubs now. Um, Moving on down the leagues, it's surprising how many clubs at that lower level are prepared just to fob the fans off, and it makes you feel distant from the clubs. So when football returned and you could go to the very lower levels, I think I thought to myself, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go to games. I'm gonna go rather than watch matches on TV and stuff like that. And I haven't missed it at all. Um, it's made me even less interested, to be honest with you. And I feel even more distant from it now. And I did worry whether that would be the case, and I do worry whether going forward, whether I'll go back to the way I was. I don't foresee that I'll watch Wrexham in the way I did, and other clubs as well. Whether I'm gonna I don't feel the same about those clubs anymore, which is sad, really. Um, but I'm enjoying the ground hopping, and that those clubs that you're watching and that you're putting money behind the bar, or obviously you're not going to games where you're paying in yet, but when you are allowed to at a few levels above, that money's going, and it's to pay essential stuff. And the stuff you're watching now, you're watching people who really just want to play football, who enjoy playing it for the sake of playing it, and it's great. No one's trying to make a buck out of you. Everybody's there to support the same love of football, really, and it is quite nice and refreshing. So I have enjoyed doing it, and anybody that doesn't go just because there isn't a railing around the side of the pitch, there isn't a turnstile to go in, or there isn't a floodlight in the corner. If you're restricting yourself on those bases, I think you're a mug, to be honest, because there's some fantastic football at this level. It doesn't have to be a case of the amount of skill in the game. You only have to have two teams who are well matched to make a game. They can be the two shittest teams that have ever existed with the worst skill level ever. But if they are equally as poor, equally as bad, then it can make for a very exciting game because those teams are even, and a great passion for the game and the wanting to play the game at this level, and the enthusiasm is fantastic. I have enjoyed that, and I have enjoyed ground hopping. I love travelling as it is, and even going around small places. It's been great. I haven't really gone very far, but you're still discovering small nooks and crannies locally, which you've never been. I mean, as far as I've been so far since the reopening of things, are Northwise, Lancashire, and Lichfield South, because basically, I mean, you can't stay over anywhere else. I don't drive, as many of you will know, because of my poor eyesight. So, it's I can't stay in hotels and that because they're not open. So it's all had to be in reasonably local stuff that I can get home from after. So it's been nice to I've had to do that. It's been nice to also taking half to a lot of games and that, and she seems to be enjoying it. And the weather's been pretty good apart from the last weekend. So she's been out and about. There's loads of kids and that to play with, and it's nice to be able to take her with me and stuff, and her to enjoy herself as well. And she loves it, enjoys the adventure on the train. But it's also nice to discover small places, even like you say, nooks and crannies locally, which is nice really. There's always a new place to discover, and long may it continue. So I'm quite happy with that. So I don't know whether I'll go back or not really. Looking forward. I mean, there's no sort of reckoning when we'll get back in. The Euro seem gone now, although I haven't had the balls to take the refund for the tickets, so I can't see it happening though. But the dreamer in me won't let me give up that small piece of hope. So there you go. So yeah, I'll put some more stuff up more regularly now. I've try and squeeze it into me my busy days and stuff, and I'll do some other ones other than ground hopping videos as well. Um, and try and sort of do some more stuff around life as well, because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, how can you afford to do this? How do you have time to do this?" And one of my goals for the YouTube videos was to explain all that. So hopefully I'll get more chance to do that. How I do afford to do it all, and how I get around and stuff like that, and how I can do it with my disabilities, and how I work it around everything else, and it hopefully it inspires other people with disabilities like that to be able to show that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve in life, and don't let things limit you, and hopefully uh, it's what's the words for it really, um it explains myself a little bit better and the person I am, um which I think I'd like to be able to do that, and I've taken a lot of critics over the years, and I think it'd be nice to be able to try and show myself in a true light, and hopefully it does make people understand things a little bit easier, and people who have been critics of me in the past maybe warm to me a little bit more, and at least understand me. So we'll try and achieve that as well along the way. But a lot of it'll just be good ground up in stories, and some funny stories along the way as well. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos that I put up, and I hope you've enjoyed the ones I've put up till to this point. Really, the subject I was going to talk about was the Super League really, and all that. As a fan of a smaller club, I've got to say, um, I don't really care what happens to the. If they go, and they make a Super League, fine. I think domestic football would be better without them, the big clubs, because I think they've they've sucked everything out of the game already. And maybe domestic football would be better um, if they just left us alone. Um, so I think that would be possibly a good thing. As a United fan, yeah, it does disappoint you, but I think you know it's a horse that's already bolted. Really, um, I think if you were going to protest about it, should have made the protests when the Premier League started. Um, should have made the protests all that way back. I know people did, but should have banged on the drum harder then, because now all feels a bit too late, really. And I know it's sad and frustrating for those those fans who you know just have that one club and it's the big club, and it is disappointing for them and it is frustrating for them, but it's a frustrating that people fans of a lower level club have had to live with for years. And I think you know as much as I hope those fans achieve what they want by the protests, um, I'm not so bothered as a fan of a smaller club, but as a Man United fan as well, I do want them to achieve. I don't necessarily want them to leave as a Man United fan, but I think I could cope with it better. I think it's probably the way to explain it. Sort of having one foot on either side of the divide there. Really, I can see both sides. But yeah, so that's all I wanted to really talk about, and hope you enjoy the other videos. I'm going to Liverpool Premier League tonight for the first time. So that's Gilmore versus Bluecoat. That should be good. I think we're going to go for a meal beforehand as well. Um, that'll be nice. Hopefully get in somewhere. Try to get in somewhere the other day after Helsby, but that went awry. There's just nowhere one willing to take us in really with the bad weather. Oh, excuse me. But it seems much better today, so hopefully we'll get somewhere this evening before the game. It seemed a bit too late to have out on the train with it being an 8 o'clock kickoff, with having school tomorrow. So we thought we'd go in the car, and it gives Jess a break as well, and it'd be nice to get to do something together. There isn't a lot you can really do. So going out for a meal seems to be about the only thing you can do. So hopefully we can have a nice evening after the disappointment last night.